And I will say the good news for Canada is that as we look about, there is lots of good things happening in the financial sector in terms of activity. I think it's probably not communicated as well as it could be. But part of the initiative that Nick mentioned with TFSA joining the International Network of Financial Centers for Sustainable Finance is to help really tell that story and develop what should we be doing collaboratively and collectively here in Canada. And what are the best practices, and how can we be sitting at the table as those best practices are developed and be a part of really scoping those out. And it's huge impact. This really is, we always have to bring it back when everyone here knows that this is not just a green initiative. This is about the economy. And so we need to start talking about it more broadly in those terms and make sure that all Canadians understand this is about the economy and it's about everybody's wealth.
Just real quick to sum up, for insurers, supporting the transition to a more climate-resilient economy means getting the incentives and disincentives lined up appropriately. I think on risk reduction, on risk financing, and on risk transfer. And to do that right, we actually do need the public sector and the private sector to come together to take account of this. Bearing in mind what's happening on climate.
As we look at the Canadian landscape now, I think what we're finding is that it's a very collegial atmosphere. I mean, we're finding even ourselves here today with insurance as fellow investors, with asset owners and the banking sector. We need to work together. We're a small population, but we need to get ahead of this because the sustainable framework is coming. So as Canadians, I think we have an opportunity to really take now in North America. Again, this is all about a capital allocation. So if we're going to fund clean tech, well, we have to flow capital to it. If we're going to get out of things that are more risky, we have to flow capital out. And that is really the name of the game. It's very simple, but it's hard to get ourselves organized to do that.
There's been quite an evolution in investing from a responsibility perspective. Whereas in the past, the singular focus, as I said earlier, was negative screening, which was about excluding the bad apples or the bad citizens, if you will. Now it's more about positive screening, which is really about looking at the best in class within each sector of the economy, because you simply cannot exclude big sectors in an economy. It's just simply going to result potentially in a difference between your performances and the benchmarks or the objectives that you have. There's also norm screening, which is about looking at minimum standards. There's also about implementing ESG standards, as I said earlier, across your entire portfolios. And there's also about being socially responsible, socially active in the marketplace and taking a stance.
We have actually tremendous strength in our financial sector in Canada. We're the second largest financial center in North America and seventh globally. So let's take that tremendous amount of talent that we have there and have it look at this issue and work towards creating a real, as I said, actionable strategy there. The comment was made earlier that we don't have to reinvent the wheel here. There's lots of great things going on around this. So let's just move quickly and be a leader. I certainly think there's an opportunity for us to lead in North America.
The opportunity to bring policymakers and the importance of good policy has been part of the conversation here. It's possible to bring good policy, good regulation, and the private sector together. I do think that we can create a Canadian framework.
But we'll have maybe an interim, or at least we'll have it set. We'll be on our road, and that will be enough to give us a leadership perspective and start getting the job done.
And if you combine that with, a very diverse population, reliance on immigration, and, as a percentage of our economy, we're one of the largest trading nations in the world. All that, creates touch points with other jurisdictions where we, as a very sophisticated society, can make a difference.